Evan Park entered the office like he always did, quietly, sharply, and with a kind of terrifying aura that made employees straighten their backs as if they were in military training. His perfectly pressed black suit didn't dare wrinkle, his silver cufflinks flashed like warning signs, and his cold eyes scanned the room with professional murder. Jace Kim, his overworked personal assistant, dropped his stapler the instant their eyes met. Great. Perfect. Wonderful. Another day of survival under the most handsome ice sculpture alive. Good morning, Mr. Park. Jace squeaked, standing so fast his knee smacked the desk. Evan simply nodded, the smallest dip of his chin, the kind of nod that said, I acknowledge your existence but do not burden me with further nonsense. Jace swallowed. Yes. Classic CEO Evan. But if only the world knew the truth, that every night after escaping this corporate jungle, Jace rushed home, put on his VR headset, and played Star Realm Legends with his beloved gaming partner, Ares. Ares, the sweetest human being alive. Ares, the mysterious warrior who always protected Jace's squishy healer character. Ares, the guy who said soft, charming things like, I don't need healing items. Just stay behind me. I'll handle everything. As if that wasn't the hottest line a man could whisper over a headset. Ares, Ares, Ares. Jace sighed dreamily. Kim. Jace jolted like someone stuck him with a taser. Why yes, sir. Evan stared at him with that unreadable face, so sharp and elegant he looked like he was carved from cold moonlight. Why are you smiling at your stapler? God. Jace looked down. Yes, he was definitely smiling at his stapler. In the middle of work. In front of his boss. The coldest CEO in Korea. It's a very reliable stapler? Jace said. Evan blinked once. Twice. Then walked into his office and shut the door with a soft click that somehow still sounded judgmental. Jace collapsed into his chair, groaning into his hands. Kim. Jace nearly dropped his iPad on his face. Evan was standing over him again, tall, intimidating, stupidly attractive. There's an event this weekend, Evan said. A company retreat. Mandatory. Mandatory? Jace whispered, horrified. Yes. But I already have plans. Evan's brow lifted an entire millimeter. Let me guess, staying home eating instant noodles and playing games? Jace froze. Oh, how did he know? Evan's eyes narrowed, studying Jace's soul like he was scanning a document for errors. Am I wrong? And no, Jace admitted. Evan nodded. Good. Cancel everything. Pack your belongings. We leave Friday morning. He walked away before Jace could argue. Jace deflated dramatically. If he had a tail, it would have fallen off. Jace dove into his VR world the moment he got home. His avatar, a cute healer with floppy rabbit ears, don't judge him, spawned near the crystal forest. A message popped up instantly. Ares Angel, you're late. Angel. Ares called him Angel. Jace melted. Jace, sorry? Had a long day. My boss is evil. Ares, should I destroy him for you? Jace giggled in real life. Ares always talked like that, half joking, half weirdly serious. They teamed up for a raid, Ares slicing through monsters like a deadly god while Jace healed and panicked and occasionally ran into trees. Halfway through the mission, Ares suddenly typed. Ares, Jace, I need to tell you something. Jace's heart skidded. Jace, what is it? There was a long pause. Too long. Ares, I think I'm falling for you. Jace screamed into a pillow. This could not be happening. The universe was not this generous. Love confessions did not happen to exhausted corporate assistants who ate dry cereal at 3 a.m. He felt his face burning under the VR headset. His hands shook as he typed back. Jace, Ares, I don't know what to say. Ares, just say you won't run away. Run away. Jace's heart flipped so hard it might have filed for unemployment. But before he could reply, crash, his bedroom door burst open. It was his roommate barging in like a tornado. Jace. The laundry machine exploded. Jace screamed, ripped off his headset, and sprinted away, forgetting to reply to Ares. The next morning, Jace dragged himself into work looking like a wilted flower. He hadn't slept. At all. His mind replayed Ares's confession on loop. Over and over. And over. He walked into the office, praying Evan wouldn't notice. He barely made it to his desk before. Kim. What? Why did this man always appear like a boss battle? Yes, sir? Jace croaked. Evan studied him for a few seconds. His eyes softened. You look terrible, he said gently. Gently? Thank you. Jace said. That wasn't a compliment. Ah, yes. Thank you for the insult then. Evan exhaled slowly, pinching the bridge of his nose. Just come to my office. I have something for you to review. Jace trudged after him, only to notice something odd. Evan's phone screen lit up in his hand. A notification. From Star Realm Legends. Jace stopped walking so fast Evan nearly bumped into him. What is it? Evan asked. Jace stared at the screen. At the notification. Ares Angel, are you awake? Jace's soul left his body. No, no, it couldn't be. His cold CEO boss. The man who terrified him. The man who scolded staplers. Couldn't be. Ares. Right? Right? Evan turned, eyes cool as ice. But now Jace noticed something he never had before. A small, soft smile tugging at the corner of Evan's lips. Kim, he said quietly. You didn't reply last night. Jace's breath caught. No. No way. No freaking way. Ares, was Evan? Jace did not scream. He internally screamed. Externally, he froze mid-breath like someone had unplugged him from reality. Evan, cold, strict, emotionally allergic CEO Evan, was staring at him. Not with confusion. Not with suspicion. But with the quiet, confident calm of someone who already knew the answer. What do you mean by that? Jace stuttered, voice climbing 3 octaves too high. Evan raised an eyebrow. You didn't reply. Last night. To my message. No. Jace blurted. I mean yes. I don't know what you're talking about. There. That was smooth. That was believable. Definitely. Evan slipped his phone into his pocket and stepped closer. Too close. The air suddenly smelled like expensive cologne, cool cedar and something dark, something familiar. Something that smelled like Ares. Jace backed up so fast he hit the wall behind him. Kim, Evan said, voice low. You're acting strangely. That's because my heart thinks you're my online boyfriend. Jace wanted to scream. Instead he squeaked, I am just tired. Evan's eyes narrowed, but he finally stepped back. When you're done being whatever this is, come inside. We have documents to review. He turned and walked into his office. The moment the door clicked shut, Jace collapsed into his chair like a dying squid. All morning, Jace kept sneaking glances at Evan like he was trying to decode a secret language. Ares was gentle. Evan was terrifying. Ares flirted. Evan glared. Ares called him Angel. Evan called him Kim. Coffee. Now. Exactly. But then the universe threw Jace a grenade. He brought Evan's coffee, black, bitter, the kind that tasted like burnt regrets, to his desk. Evan took one sip, and immediately frowned. Who made this? Me, Jace said. It's too bitter. Jace stared. But sir, you always drink bitter coffee. I don't like it, Evan said flatly. It's just routine. Jace blinked. Ares also hated bitter coffee. Ares always said bitter coffee was a crime against taste buds. That could still be a coincidence. Maybe. Hopefully. But then as Evan signed documents, Jace noticed something else. Evan's fingers. His long, elegant fingers with faint hard spots on the knuckles. Gamer calluses. No. No. He was not about to faint in front of his boss. Not again. Jace brought Evan his lunch. He stood there awkwardly, still replaying last night's messages in his head. Ares, Angel, I think I'm falling for you. And then Evan's voice sang. You didn't reply last night. Jace's soul left his body for the 43rd time. Kim. Evan's voice snapped him back. Why are you staring at me? I wasn't staring. I was just, thinking about soup. Soup? Yes. Evan stared at him as if reevaluating all his life choices. Go take a break before you malfunction. Jace fled the office. Friday arrived too fast. Jace stood in the lobby holding his tiny beat-up luggage next to Evan's massively expensive designer suitcase. Of course Evan's suitcase looked like it cost more than Jace's yearly salary. Employees gathered around them for the retreat, whispering. Why is the CEO personally traveling with his assistant? Isn't Kim usually left behind? Maybe he's in trouble. Maybe he's getting promoted. No, it's definitely trouble. Jace wanted to bury himself. The bus ride was worse. Evan sat beside him. On purpose. When there were plenty of empty seats. Jace pressed himself against the window like a terrified pancake. Evan glanced sideways. Relax. I'm not going to bite. Jace choked on air. But Ares had once typed. I'd bite you if I could. Jace slapped a hand over his face. Evan frowned. Kim, are you sick? No. I'm just having an allergic reaction. To what? To oxygen. Evan stared at him. You're ridiculous. But there was a faint smile tugging at his lips. It was small, easy to miss, but Jace saw it. Aries smiled like that in-game. Soft and amused. The similarities were killing him. At the retreat resort, Jace was forced to share a room with Evan. Because of course he was. Of course the universe hated him. They entered the room. 2 beds. Thank God. Jace threw himself onto his bed dramatically, exhausted. Evan meanwhile sat down and pulled his phone out. A familiar notification sound pinged. Not just any ping. The specific Star Realm Legends ping. Jace's heart exploded into confetti. Evan typed something quickly. And then Jace's own phone buzzed. With a message. From Aries. Aries? Angel, did you arrive safely? Are you tired? I miss you. Jace's scream was trapped inside his throat like a captured animal. He looked up. Evan was sitting there, casually scrolling, completely calm. With the exact same expression Aries always described himself having when he waited for Jace to log in. I'm smiling right now. You just can't see it. Jace's stomach flipped. Something clicked. Art. The voice. The mannerisms. The protectiveness. The stupidly handsome face. Everything matched. Evan Park. His cold, terrifying, gorgeous CEO boss. Was Aries. His sweet, flirty, obsessive online partner. Now what? Was he supposed to confess back? Was he supposed to quit his job? Was he supposed to fake his own death and move to another continent? Evan suddenly looked up, meeting his eyes. Kim, he murmured. Aren't you going to reply? Jace's heart stopped. How was he supposed to survive this retreat? Jace's pulse was doing Olympic-level gymnastics. Evan, no Aries, no Evan Aries, was staring at him with that calm, unreadable expression. The expression that said, I know something you don't know, but I'm waiting for you to catch up. Jace clutched his phone to his chest like a shield. I don't need to reply right now, he squeaked. Evan tilted his head slightly. You always reply immediately. Jace choked on air. He was right. Jace always replied to Aries instantly, sometimes too instantly. Sometimes embarrassingly instantly. But that didn't matter now. What mattered was that Evan Park, Ice Lord of the corporate underworld, was secretly the man whispering romantic nonsense to him in a fantasy forest. Life was a joke. A cosmic prank with terrible comedic timing. I left something in the lobby. Jace blurted. We just arrived. I left something in the lobby in the future. Kim. Jace bolted for the door anyway. He sprinted down the resort hallway, nearly tripping over a decorative plant. He kept running until he found a quiet corner between a vending machine and a suspiciously expensive indoor waterfall. He slumped to the floor and opened the message again. Aries, Angel, why aren't you answering me? Did something happen? A second message arrived instantly. Aries, or is someone bothering you? Jace stared at the phone and muttered, No, you're bothering me. He typed back shakily. Jace, I'm fine. Just traveling. 3 dots appeared. Then, Aries, don't lie to me. Jace's breath hitched. Evan had said that same sentence earlier. In the exact same tone. This was no longer a coincidence. This was a full-on crime scene. His phone buzzed again. Aries, Angel, come online later. I have something important to ask you. Jace's veins froze. Important. Was he going to confess again? Jace vaguely considered jumping into the indoor waterfall. Kim. Jace almost levitated off the floor. Evan was standing over him. How did he even find him? Did CEOs have built-in GPS tracking for their assistants? Evan's expression was cool, but his eyes looked dangerous. Not in the murdery way. In the I'm never letting you run from me again way. Why did you run out? Evan asked. I needed air. There is air inside the room. Not enough. Evan stepped closer. Kim. Oh no. Oh no no no. He crouched down to Jace's level. Jace plastered himself against the vending machine. Your behavior is unusual, Evan said quietly. I'm just, on a health journey. A health journey. Yes. Called, cardio, panic, fitness. Evan stared. Art. Then, without warning, he lifted a hand and gently caught Jace's chin, turning his face toward him. Jace's soul left his body. Look at me, Evan said. Jace looked anywhere but at him. Ceiling, vending machine, fake waterfall, even his own shoes. Evan didn't budge. Kim. The softness in his tone almost killed him. Finally, Jace's eyes met his, sharp, focused, intense. Too intense. Evan whispered, Why are you avoiding me? I'm not avoiding you, Jace squeaked. You sprinted out of the room. I do that sometimes. You tripped over a plant. I do that sometimes too. Evan exhaled, slow and heavy. Kim, talk to me. Jace felt his entire chest tighten. This wasn't Evan the cold CO. This was Ares, the man who always said, Angel, tell me what's bothering you so I can fix it. It was too much. Jace covered his face. I can't talk to you right now. Why? Because you confessed to me as Ares, and now my world is breaking into tiny glittery pieces. But he didn't say that. Instead he squeaked, I just need to process. Evan slowly stood up. His expression returned to its composed CO mode, but his eyes were darker now. Possessive. Fine, he said. But you're not running again. Jace gulped. Evan extended a hand to help him up. Jace ignored it. Bad move. Evan simply grabbed him by the wrist and pulled him up effortlessly. As if Jace weighed nothing. As if he was something precious. Jace turned into a tomato. By the time evening rolled around, the employees had gathered for team-building games, ugly, chaotic games designed to break spirits and dignity. Jace tried to blend into the crowd. But Evan kept watching him. Every second. Whenever someone came close to Jace, Evan's glare sharpened. When a coworker touched Jace's shoulder, Evan stood up. When someone offered Jace a drink, Evan took it from their hand and handed it to Jace himself. Everyone noticed. Is the CEO protecting Kim? Since when does he care about his assistant? Are they dating? Jace wanted to disappear. Finally, he escaped to a quiet balcony. He inhaled deeply, trying to calm his spiraling brain. Then the sliding door opened. Of course, it was Evan. His suit jacket was gone, sleeves rolled up, hair slightly messy from the wind. He looked devastatingly attractive. Too attractive. Kim, he said softly, I need to ask you something. Jace froze. Those were the same exact words Ares had typed. Evan stepped closer, voice low. When you ran out earlier, you looked scared. He reached out and gently brushed Jace's cheek with his thumb. Tell me who made you feel like that. You. Jace blurted before he could stop himself. Evan blinked. Jace slapped a hand over his mouth. Abort. Abort. But Evan only smiled. A slow, knowing, devastating smile. The Ares smile. So, Evan whispered, you do know. Jace's heart fell out of his body. Evan leaned closer, lips brushing Jace's ear. I've been waiting for you to figure it out. Jace had never wanted to disappear into thin air more in his entire life. Evan's breath ghosted against his ear, and his voice, deep, soft, undeniably Ares, was still vibrating through his spine. You figured it out, Evan murmured. Jace made a strangled noise. I didn't figure anything out. Life figured me out. Against my will. Evan chuckled. A warm, intimate sound that should be illegal for a CEO to make in public. Kim, he said, stepping in front of him, stop running. Jace's back hit the balcony railing. I'm not running. Then why are you standing like you're about to jump into the ocean? I like oceans, Jace whispered. Evan stared at him, amusement tugging at his lips. Come here. No. Evan did not listen. Because Evan never listened. Instead, he gently took Jace's wrist again, so carefully Jace melted on the spot, and tugged him closer. Look at me, Evan said. Jace looked at the floor. Jace. Jace looked at the railing. Angel. Jace's head snapped up so fast he almost sprained something. Evan smiled, slow, devastating, beautiful. The same smile Ares always described typing with. The smile that made Jace's chest twist. Yes, Evan murmured, that got your attention. Jace sputtered. Why you can't call me that in real life? Why not? Evan brushed a thumb over Jace's hand, sending electric shocks through his body. It's what I call you every night. Yeah. That definitely didn't help Jace unknot his brain. Jace. Evan's voice dropped, softer. This wasn't CEO Evan or Ares the player. This was the real Evan, the one Jace barely ever saw. I knew it was you in the game, Evan said quietly. From the first month. Jace's jaw dropped. A month? Evan nodded calmly. You type too fast. You panic too easily. You heal like a frantic newborn duck. I do not. Wait, what does that mean? It's adorable, Evan said. Jace nearly passed out. Evan continued, voice steady. I didn't know how to act around you at work. I didn't want to scare you. He paused. So I kept my distance. Too much distance. Jace swallowed hard. His heart was practically tap dancing. You weren't cold, Jace whispered. You were shy. Evan looked offended. I wasn't shy. You definitely were. Fine. I was cautious. Jace stared at him, shocked. Evan, the terrifying perfect CO, had been nervous about him? But online, Evan continued, I could talk freely. You laughed at my jokes. He looked down for a moment. You trusted me. Jace's chest tightened. He did trust Ares, more than anyone else. Evan stepped closer, voice barely above a breath. I fell for you in game first. Then I started falling for you here too. Jace's heart became a fireworks show. Jace covered his face with his hands, overwhelmed. This is insane. You can't just show up in two forms and confess to me twice. Evan gently hooked a finger under Jace's chin and lifted it. Then let me confess a third time. No. Too late. Evan leaned close, eyes burning with something Jace had only ever felt through pixelated forests and glowing battlefields. I like you, Evan said softly. I've liked you for a long time. Online and offline. I want you with me, everywhere. Jace couldn't breathe. I don't want anyone else calling you Angel, Evan whispered. Just me. The world tilted. And Jace did the only thing he could do. He covered his face again and said, voice cracking. That is so unfair. Evan laughed. Why? Because now I like you and I don't know what to do about it. Evan froze. Then very slowly, smiled. So you like me too? That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said. Leave me alone. Never. Evan. Yes. Jace groaned, defeated. You're impossible. And you're adorable, Evan said. Which is a problem. Jace blinked. Why is that a problem? Because, Evan murmured, brushing Jace's hair back, I want to kiss you. Jace's soul did a backflip. Jace whispered, you're my boss. And your partner? Evan said. In game. In life. That's not how that works. Evan leaned closer. It can be. Jace's knees turned to pudding. He whispered, are you sure? Evan's voice dropped to a rumble. I've been sure for months. Jace's breath hitched. And then Evan kissed him. Soft at first, like he was asking for permission. Then deeper, like he'd been holding himself back far too long. Jace melted into it, hands grabbing onto Evan's shirt for dear life. Evan pulled him closer, steadying him, kissing him like he knew every part of him. Like Ares always promised. If I could touch you, I'd never let go. When they finally pulled apart, Jace was breathless and bright red. Evan rested his forehead against Jace's. Stay with me, he whispered. Online and offline. Jace swallowed hard. Then nodded. Okay, he whispered. But only if you stop stealing my boss battles. Evan smirked. No promises. Jace shoved him. Evan caught him easily, laughter rumbling in his chest. Back in the game a week later, their avatars stood together on a moonlit cliff. A marriage notification flashed. Ares and Angel have formed an eternal bond. Jace squeaked. Evan, sitting beside him on the couch, kissed his cheek. You were mine long before the game recognized it, he murmured. Jace shoved him again. Evan just pulled him closer. And Jace didn't run anymore.